Hey, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our Humanizing Your LinkedIn Engagement webinar. We're doing these free webinars every quarter, so we really value the folks that take the time to attend, and of course, all the registrants will get the replay afterwards with any slides and materials that we put together. So welcome. We're going to try to give you some tips today that will give you things to think about to make your engagement on LinkedIn better. And today I have with me my Vice President of Operations, Davey Gabbard, and coming in from the Cincinnati area. And Beth Wagmeister is our ASL interpreter from the WAG group. So thank you, Beth, for all you do for us. And we always try to reach a diversified audience. So you are integral at doing that for us. Davey's going to introduce
Great, thanks.
our DW. Go ahead, Davey.
We always like to level set the strategies and the model for the DW Consulting Solutions networking best practices. And so we are old school networkers. Those of you that know Debbie know that she is out and about and she is meeting people and shaking hands and kissing babies. No, she's not running for politics. But she is networking. She's a master networker. If you haven't connected with her on LinkedIn, like, what are you doing? And this is our model. This is how we approach it. So it's just old school networking using a cutting edge technology, using a digital platform. All of the basic courtesy and rules are the same as you're at a mixer and meeting someone in person. We're just having, we have 1 billion people worldwide to connect with. That's how we like you to think of it. Think of LinkedIn as just a big power networking lunch, okay? The first and most important thing in business development is people do business with the folks that you use that as your platform. It's the base of your platform. While we think LinkedIn is a three-legged stool, there is a priority. And so there's never a second chance to make a first impression. The first and most important thing for you to address in LinkedIn is your profile, making sure that it's complete and optimized so that people can know and get to like and trust you more. Next thing is then to build your network so that you can be found and find people that you have synergies with and hopefully the relationship. Little side note, don't pitch out of the gate. It doesn't work. No one likes it. It's really bad behavior, and it's a great way to get your LinkedIn profile shut down because it is a violation of the rules to sound like that. We want to build relationships. Think about that mixer. You wouldn't walk right up to someone, hand them your business card, and try to pull them to the side to sell them your insurance. You wouldn't do it in the mixer. Don't do it on LinkedIn. And then get engaged in content. Provide content, post your own, or engage with content that exists in a way that brings value, that stimulates a conversation, a dialogue, and demonstrates your perspective and your skills. What sets you above your competition? Your engagement is a great way to demonstrate that. All right, so let's kick off. Let's get into humanizing LinkedIn. I know we've been talking a lot about AI lately. It's all over. So how do we make sure that we keep our LinkedIn human and that people see us as human and not just a digital resume, Debbie? How do we get started?
All right, everything starts with your profile. And there's been a lot of changes since January on what you can and cannot do. And I'm going to start at the top of your profile with the background image. So that's the area behind your headshot. Okay, so quick and easy for anyone that's a business owner, this is a beautiful place to have what we call a freestanding ad for your business. We choose to have a picture of our team. Actually need to add one person to it, but you can do whatever you want with it. If you're a business owner, get your information on there about how people can contact you. And this is really important. Especially now with people scamming and spamming, your background image is a great place to put your email address because it cannot be scammed from there. Whereas when you put your address in your about section, which we've always done and we still do, because there are apps to try to curb spam email and so forth. And you can use a Google email, and have things directed to your business email if you want. So there's ways around it. But in that background image, if you put your email there, it cannot be scraped by the third-party software that is illegal to use on LinkedIn. There are companies doing it, and it's called scraping software. It's a violation of the LinkedIn user agreement to use it, and we advise not using it. There's other ways to engage with people properly. So if you're a business owner, and even if you're not, it's a good place to put your email address. And if you have a website, go for it. You're now allowed to put contact information in that area. If you're not a business owner, we've always followed the adage that um, uh, Google a metropolitan area near you, and if you Google like West Palm Beach free images, just like that, you're going to get pages of copyright free photographs that are usually quite beautiful. And if you want to pick 3 or 4, because you're going to try to get one that has the right pixel count, to fit the image so it's not blurry, do remember that your headshot's going to sit in the lower left corner of that image that you pick, and you want it to be a horizontal image. I know I just saw a note, and I think it was about putting a text box on that image area. Canva. Canva's our friend, canva.com. You can upload an image and you can overlay. I think that's what it's called. Davey will correct me. She's our Canva queen, by the way. If you need help, we have that as a service. But that's an easy way to overlay text or any written information onto an image. Any image is better than none. Please get something in there if you're looking at that blah, three-tone gray, whatever it is, that LinkedIn will just put there if you don't choose to put up an image. Okay, ID verification. This is fairly new, and we really, really advocate getting it onto your profile. It's going to be that little badge with a check mark after your last name. That immediately tells viewers you are human. You're not a bot, you're not a fake profile, and you need your license or a passport to get that little check mark ID verification. Please do that. And by the way, for all these different things we're going to recommend today, Davey has put together a tip sheet in the reference documents to tell you the how to do each of these things. So I'm not going to go into detail with the steps, but get that check mark after your last name. Okay, and the next thing is name pronunciation. You need to do this with a mobile app, but there's nothing better than having a viewer hear you. And it's a 10-second recording. It's free. You have to do it with the mobile app. And you again, the steps will be on that tip sheet, but it lets people hear you pronounce your name. And really, it's called name pronunciation for a reason. I think it was custom made for me. There's a dozen ways for people to pronounce my name or spell it, all awful. But it's a great way to let people know the right way to pronounce your name, and because there's nothing worse, frankly, than mispronouncing names, and I've done that plenty of times. So we're big advocates for that little speaker icon after your last name, after that little shield with the check mark. So those are 2 things. If you don't have them now, please get them. It'll take you less than 10 minutes to do both of them. Um, and you can use that 10 seconds for marketing. So if you listen to my message, I try to change it at the beginning of every month because it only takes a minute and it's kind of fun to think about what's coming up for the month that I can promote. So I say my name first, and then I still have about 7.5 or 8 seconds to say whatever. You can say a lot with that time. So make use of that. Also, the about narrative. We talk a lot about this. Use it, please. We still come across profiles that do not have an about section. 9 times out of 10, it's because people are kind of stumped on, what am I going to write? Or they really don't like writing about themselves. We get it. This is what we excel at. And we've learned to make it a combination of information about who you are, what you do. If you're a business owner, what do you promote? Why should people pay attention to you? Why should they engage with you? Um, why should they use your product or service? What makes you better than everyone else? If you're not a business owner, talk about what you do. Hopefully you love what you do. If you don't, fake it. But you want to get information in that about section that by the time people finish reading it, they want to know more about you, no matter who you are. This is a relationship building site. You want to engage on LinkedIn. You want people to engage with you. There's all kinds of really clever strategies to I'm just going to rattle off a couple of quick ones. There's a fellow in the UK. Those of you who are connected with him will know right away who I'm talking to. He's got the word pineapple in a sentence in his about section, and followed by the instruction, if you want me to connect with you, use this word in your invitation. That's how he knows people have read his about section. It's pretty clever and it works. And you do want to read people's narrative because you can use that information in your invitations to connect, and we'll get to that later. But don't be afraid to share a little bit about yourself. I've got a very quick 3 or 4 sentence section in mine that tells people I'm from New England and I've been down here for 100 years. you know, it just gives people a little bit more information. It makes me a little more human to let total strangers know a little bit more about me and my background. And people don't know you. A lot of times the people that you attract to your profile, they don't know who you are. They've been referred to you or they pulled you up in a search, or they're an HR person who found you because you've got what they need. Don't be afraid to let them know a little bit about you and be human. It's very effective. And make sure you make it easy for people to reach you. Again, we do advocate adding a telephone or email, both available through Google, a Gmail account that can lead to whatever you want, a Google phone number that can lead to, whatever phone number you actually want your messages on. One more thing, include images in your profile. You can upload them to 4 different areas. Obviously, the background image area, the banner image, but you can also upload images to the featured section. And both Davey and I have that on our profiles. Check that out if you want to see what it looks like. But it is a way to repurpose things that you've already got, like a post or a newsletter or an article, any link from the internet. If you have a page on your website that you really want to draw attention to, feature it and you'll get a nice little thumbnail. You don't know what you're going to get with links until you actually upload it, and then you'll see what the thumbnail is. But don't be afraid to include images in your experience section. You can even add images to your education section, and of course, the services area for business owners. And Davey's going to talk a little bit about invitations to connect and how to be more human with that.
Great. Oh, there we go. So invitations to connect. Now, we've always told you personalized invitations are the best way to connect. Mention something about the synergies that you have with the person you're inviting, and they're 5 times more likely to get accepted. Well, LinkedIn's trying to get us all to upgrade to premium, and so they have restricted the number of invitations that we can send if we're on the free basic profile in a personalized way. So we're going to have to start clicking that connect button, and the add a note option won't be there after you do 5 a month. So if you're on premium, no worries. You can invite as many people as you like. So you're going to want to go to the connect, add a profile, on profile when you're adding a note. If you're looking at a list of search results, and there's a connect button there, it will send the wordless invitation. Unless you know that person, you shouldn't send the wordless invitation at all, because why would you want to connect with them if you haven't looked at their profile? And now we're finding other ways to let people know you will be inviting them to connect in a personalized way outside of the invitation, which is, it's kind of a hassle because a lot of us got used to personalizing in the note. But if you engage with the person first and then say, hey, look for my connection invitation. You can do that in a comment. So have synergy with someone and then respond to their post and say, I really like this, look for my invitation. And, or you can email them if their email is available. Say, hey, I saw your LinkedIn profile. I sent you a connection request. I'd love to connect. So we have workarounds for that. Now, how do you find the synergy and who are the people that you could find that synergy with to invite to connect? So mutual connections, of course, people that you work with, have worked with, or know professionally through the community. If you're volunteering, there'll be other professionals there that you can connect with. And that's a really important way to build relationships. Folks that have the similar educational background or maybe alumni of the same institutions that you studied at, those would be people that you would have natural synergies with. People that live or do business in cities where you've lived or done business before, you have a natural synergy there. And if it's a past city and it seems like they might be new to the city, it'd be a great thing to do to reach out and say, hey, I've got some tips on great restaurants or arts and entertainment or the best way to get through rush hour traffic. Anyone that shares a certification with you, so they have a professional certification, there are certifications that you can list on your profile. You can search for those as well. Find folks that have the similar type of certifications as you. So professional peers, LinkedIn groups. There are millions of LinkedIn groups that cover every type of professional association, alumni association. It's a fascinating list of groups. You can join those LinkedIn groups and then also find individuals that you have synergies with in there and then connect with them. So you can't personalize it. Let's focus on their activity. You want to react and comment. And we really recommend you do this anyway because you kind of want to get on someone's radar screen before you send them an invitation to connect if you haven't met them already. So react, comment, get some interactions going there on the content feed, add value, get their attention, and then, like I said, give them a heads up that you'll be inviting them. You can do it right in the comments or you can send them a side note. Okay. And then thank you notes. Once someone has accepted your invitation to connect, you can acknowledge that connection in LinkedIn. You want to send them a quick thank you. Thanks for connecting. Maybe add some value. When we connect with folks, we'll send them a reference document, a LinkedIn tip. You can also leave them a voice message, which is really cool. You'll see in the text field that there is an icon with a microphone. You can click on that and it will do a voice message, and then you can hit send. It's a really cool way, again, to get to know someone and to humanize your content. The majority of communication, we know, is nonverbal communication, and the tone of your voice, the pace of your speaking, that tells me a lot about you. I can learn a lot about you. When I'm reading your profile, I'm reading it in what I believe your voice sounds like based on your profile picture, unless you've done voice name pronunciation and I can hear your voice. So I think that's a really important thing to do, to make sure people get your vibe and get to know you and hear what you sound like. So let's talk about posting, Debbie.
My favorite topic. We get questions every single week, so I don't think we can ever give out enough information about, tips and guidance on posting. So first of all, views and stats are not the end all be all to LinkedIn. Don't post to chase views. It's always going to come down to content. If you're posting content of interest to everybody, if you are educating and informing people in a productive, professional manner, you can't go wrong with that. You're going to see us post a whole bunch of LinkedIn tips. There are thousands of them. So there's no shortage of content for us. But Davey and I also like to shake it up a bit. So if I can get my daughter's permission, I'll post a picture that I took with her this weekend, up in Orlando, which has nothing to do with LinkedIn, but it's very human. Helped her move into a new apartment. She's on her own, hasn't been for a long time. So it was a big deal and it was a lot of fun. I ache. But it's interesting. It lets my network know what I've been doing and why I haven't been on LinkedIn for 2 days, 3 days almost. Or you can kind of tell people, what you're doing. Talk about what you know. Talk about upcoming events you're going to attend. When we put out our newsletter every month, hopefully, I look at my business calendar to see what networking I'm doing, and I have a whole, Debbie's calendar, follow Debbie, whatever Davey wants to call it. It lets people know where I'm going to be for the month. It also helps the people that are organizing and hosting those different things that I go to. And it might get more people to attend those events. So I'm doing a whole bunch of good by posting, what I'm doing for the next 5 or 6 weeks. Um, I don't expect anything in return. But I always see people at those events who come up, "Hey, I saw this in your newsletter. I'm glad I'm here." It's engagement, you guys. That's the kind that happens off of LinkedIn, but because of LinkedIn. You can also talk about industry news, anything that's going on in your industry that might be of interest, any events at all. I love events. You can post before, tell people where you're going next week or month. You can post pictures. Davey and I love to post during the conferences that we work at. And it's great fun because, again, it's a very helpful thing to do all around, not just to tell people where we are. And you can post about stuff after the fact. Professional development, huge. If you're doing anything, just got a note in the chat about Strength Finder skills. Should you put them under skills? Absolutely. But it's also a thing of professional development. We all should strive to make time for that. It's really challenging, I know, but when you do, don't be afraid to post about it. I know people that post when they finish a LinkedIn learning course, and sometimes it's all of 20 minutes to do that. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 weeks to do that. Let people know what you're doing to improve yourself, and you might end up helping somebody else to do the same. Vacation breaks. What is a vacation? Um, you know, Definitely it's okay to post about, when you're away on vacation. It makes me a little envious every time I see those gorgeous pictures off on the island somewhere or a beach. But you got to take breaks. It's good for the brain and it's good to stay human. And it's okay to post, when you're away, and tell people why, why you think it's important to take a break here and there. Okay. We also have authenticity to think about. It's I just heard this the other day, and I listened to a lot of live events, so I'm sorry I don't remember who to give credit to, but it was something to the effect of, if you post content like you are talking to someone, your content is going to sound more authentic. And I really do believe that. So, I've even been careful myself with rereading what I'm putting out there. And I'm thinking, how would I feel if that was being said to me? Put yourself in the viewer's seat, and that's a good way to kind of double check your tone, your content in general. Be careful about being professional when you offer opinions. Please, 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 please stay away from politics and religion. Things are going to heat up in the next few months. Um, do your best to stay away from it. I look at some of the stuff that's being posted and I go, yes. And then I don't do anything. I don't click like. I don't share it, because you really got to be careful, because not everybody's going to be of your opinion on those two topics in particular, and you can really start a thread that you'll wish was never started. And if you look at some of the threads on some of those posts, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about in seconds. So, find other things to do. Um, Articles versus super long posts. Okay, there's something to be said for that. If a post is too long, and you're not gonna, didn't read is DR, too long, didn't read, you might lose people if your content's really not engaging enough. And I've been observing a lot of really long posts. It's not that I'm against the content, it's the fact that it's a post. And sometimes it might be better used as an article or in a newsletter. kind of away from posts, you want to be aware of the time that you're expecting people to take to read what you're sharing, and you want to be concise. Okay. Um, oh, most important, learn what your network responds to. Interesting content appeals to a lot of people, and that's a bonus. You can't go wrong adding an image or a video clip to your post. That's always going to get you more attention. And Davey is going to tell us about more posting guidance because we can't give enough of it.
Exactly. So people ask, how often should I post? Consistency is the most important thing. There are many options available, and it's going to depend on what your goals are for LinkedIn. We like strategies that we've tried and we know are tried and true. The LinkedIn algorithm is what is technically referred to as mystery science. And so we are part of a cohort of LinkedIn coaches and trainers that are basically reverse engineering it. And you'll see Debbie post a lot about that with respect to the cohort that we share and what we've discovered. So consistency is the name of the game. If once a week works for you, great. You want to do 3 times a week, great. Once a day, even better. But it's important to be consistent and not like me. This is an area where I have an opportunity to improve with respect to posting and consistency. You teach what you need to learn, is what they say. People ask, what's the best time to post? And generally, we do say morning, noons, or evening, 7 to 9, 11 to 1, and 8 to 12 in your time zone. Again, consistency is more important than time of day, where you are located and then where your network is located. And so, it's a billion people on LinkedIn and it's the world. So it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? 24 hours a day. Think about your market, think about your priorities, and think about the connections that you're looking to engage with and build with, and use those timeframes that seem to work best for you. But again, consistency is more important than precision when it comes to the timing. You want to acknowledge all the comments. You want to keep that conversation going. At a bare minimum, react, if you can respond and start a dialogue, engage in conversation, see if they'll respond or other LinkedIn members may engage in the conversation. You're going to be rewarded for that in the LinkedIn algorithm. That post is going to get served up again. More people are going to have an opportunity to engage with it, and you're going to get more visibility. So it's important that you do that and keep that engagement going. And then use boilerplate. If you visit Debbie's profile, you'll see this. I will be implementing this for myself this week as well. So if you use sticky notes or a notepad or digitally or even a Word document, create yourself a little boilerplate and have that handy to just cut and paste into the bottom of your post. It's a new strategy, and it is a way to default add some mentions into it and replicate some more of that initial information that people would see from your profile when they're looking at your comments if they're not connected with you. So it's another great way to get a little more information in people. All right. Let's talk about our free resources, Debbie.
Let's do that. And I'm trying to answer Anita's. The first time I've engaged with the chat, believe it or not, all the time we've been doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say, and people, I don't know if they get the chat when I don't know if they get the chat.
Typically don't. Well, chat is new for us to leave it on. So we haven't sent it out before, but I would be happy to do that. And any questions that we don't answer during, we'll make sure we get an answer for you in the follow-up email. That'll usually come to the end of the day today, early tomorrow. It depends on how long YouTube takes to upload the video when I send the links out for the follow-up.
Right.
So we'll answer those questions. Any that don't get answered right now.
Okay. And I did get to Doug's question, and I tried to do it at Doug and all. So I think everybody can see the answer about what do you do when somebody immediately responds after you connect with them? Depends on whether they're pitching you or not. Anyway, free resources are in abundance with us. Subscribe to our monthly newsletter. Davey, you can rip through the bullets on this. I'm going to be quick. Definitely connect with us on LinkedIn. Our links are right there. Check publications at the bottom of my profile. I keep about 6 past issues of our newsletter right there. You'll learn a ton of stuff going through those. Follow our LinkedIn page for more tips and visit our website. We've got free downloads, and we're always trying to add things to our calendar there too, so you can be aware of local things that are going on. Register for these free webinars. Now, we only do once a quarter, so the next one you might stick it on your calendar for noon, November 27th. And I think that might be Thanksgiving week. I don't remember. Anyway, it's not on Thanksgiving. I know that. It's always on a Wednesday. And we will we will make sure everybody gets the word on the registration link when that comes available. You can always get it right off our website webinar tab. And definitely arrange a complimentary 15-minute LinkedIn profile review with Davey or I. You can go to the next slide if you would, Davey. And the links are right there on the slide, or they will be.
Sorry, I went too far.
Patience, yes. Um, yeah, it's 15 minutes, so we can't get too wordy. I actually did one on the way home from Orlando today. That was fun. And it was 15 minutes because she had a meeting and I needed to get, on the road. I pulled off on a rest stop to do it. But that's a quick, easy way to get an idea of what a 2-hour session is like with us when and it goes by lightning fast. But we are out to do 2 things in the beginning with every single client. We want you to look the best you possibly can on LinkedIn because people make up an impression in about 3 seconds when they land on your profile. First impressions, they're tough to change. So you want to look really good. And we want you to be found on LinkedIn for whatever it is you do. That is not just for job seekers, although this is a huge site, as everybody should know, for people in transition. Whether you're thinking about it or whether you're actively in transition, you want to be found on LinkedIn for what you do, whether it's products or services, or you're offering your own expertise for a new job. So there are the links for Davey and I. Beth Wagmeister, she's awesome. Please connect with her on LinkedIn. And she uses Twitter. And I know she's on Facebook. And there's her Gmail address too, if you want to personally look into her services. She is really, really awesome at what she does, advocating for the deaf and really reaching out to make companies more diversified and accommodate all the ADA rulings that are out there. So thank you again for attending. Davey and I hope to see you in November and connect with us. We really appreciate your attention, and have a wonderful week and be grateful. And we live in abundance. Remember that.
Thanks, everybody. Bye now.